Fred Batten back again for A Real Chance Incorporated. Today I brought Carmen Batten, the Secretary of the Board, to help speak a little bit about this. Today what I want to speak about is some emails that we received, one in Pacific from Toni DeRocha in San Jose, California. She sounds really frustrated with the system and how it's affecting her family. I'm going to let Carmen read this to you so you can get a feeling like I did when I heard this. It's a typical story, and I hope it reaches a lot of you, and a lot of you can understand where it comes from. Please, Carmen, read.
Hey, I listened to your prison release system video. My son, who has a 2-year-old son, he can't get a job at all. He has no felonies, but he and my grandchild would starve if I don't help them. They would be homeless. I just spent $300 to get a software program to start expungement on his record. This country is a no second chance country. He can't get government aid. He does want to work. He wants to be productive. Tell me, how do we get America to quit being so sensitive to other countries while our people starve? I agree. Why are we sending money to other countries? We need to start taking care of the American people first and foremost. Think about it. So how do we get these people a second chance? Think about it. My son should have a second chance. He needs a job. I have resentment with our government. Yes, he screwed up, but he needs a job. They're promoting crime. How does one feed their children if they can't get a job? Like you said, they get out of prison, no one will give them a job, so what do? Let's rob a bank. Yeah, let's make them more criminals. If they would just help them, crime would be down.
Now this is just from a grandmother and a mother that's really hurting and concerned about their family. And I personally know thousands of families out there that feel the same way. I want to speak about a few of the points. How we can't get government aid. There's certain charges that you get, they're minor charges. If you're caught with marijuana, you have to go through stipulations to even have a chance for aid. And that means your children doesn't get aid as well. Any chemical substance messed up one time, not two, not three, just one time in your life,
bad decision.
You have no chance for government aid to help you. You can't get welfare, public assistance, Social Security, or anything other. It affects the families to the point, like she says, what are they supposed to do? This is your family. This is who you live and breathe for. This is your whole life. Are you just going to let them sit back and starve?
No.
Let's say you're the people that don't have money. We know a lot of families that come from poor families. Like they say, 5 times the amount of the people that end up in prison are children that are coming from families that are affected like this. The statistics I showed in the first commercial, $7 billion a month, is nothing compared to the total overall effect on these families and on the finances of the government. The $7 billion a month were only the people that were in prison at the time and the families affected. That doesn't have to be the families that were there months before, years before. None of them are figured in on that. We're over $160 billion a year just on welfare system in the United States. Most of them have criminal backgrounds because they can't get a chance. And then you have the ones that don't have any income and can't even get a piece of that 160. What are they going to do? How are they going to feed their kids? We're so worried, like she says, about sending the money to other countries, that we're so worried that they're having such a bad time that we don't really look at our own. And when we look at our own, what do we see? We're seeing tent cities going up all over our nation. We're seeing businesses and companies shutting down. We're seeing our country owned by Japan and China and other outside companies. I know every country now is a company. And we look at it that way because we're now a global enterprise. We are no longer a United States. We're a global community. And when the global community, and you look at this, that means that every other country has a piece of each country. And why are we at war? Because these countries don't want to join in that global community. So we're spending our billions upon trillions of dollars out there, and our nation's suffering to the point it's collapsing.
Inside.
These families, like Toni Marie's, what are their children going to do? What is their hope? Hopefully their hope is us.
How do we give these people a second chance?
When we look at the second chance, now that's one of the names I was thinking for this company. But I think it's more of a real chance they need, not just a second chance. Because a second chance means, oops, I messed up again, now you're out and don't have a third chance. Well, they need a real chance. They need counseling. They need understanding. From childhood on up, this family would be perfect. I could bring the father in and the child into our organization and start sculpting the child by sculpting the father. And once that child sees the father's success and not fighting every day by struggling, how am I going to make it? The biggest pain for any family, financially. What happens when financial burden comes over a family? Everything else is destroyed for that family. There's no longer love because it interferes with how are you going to feed me? What are you going to do? Carmen and I were married 20-some years ago, 27 years ago, or 26 to be exact. She left me 22 years ago. The reason Carmen left me, which I didn't find out till now, was because we were going through hard times and she was fearful that I wasn't going to be able to supply food for her and my children. So she did what she thought she should. She did it wrong, but she still did what she thought she should. She worried about herself and her children and her food over everything. All our families do this throughout our entire country. Some of our families are a lot better off than others. That's why we plead to you to help assist these families within the United States. Quit sending all of our funds to other countries. It's killing our country and it's killing our people.
You can start with our survey.
We have a survey which I've shown on the other links, which will show that you want to be involved, to show that you want change, to show that you don't want more families like Toni Marie's, DeRocha's. You don't want that to happen to your family. And it's more than just one person in this Pure Lady's family that is hurting. It's not just her son and her grandchild. It's actually her nephew is in the same situation. And he needs help. He needs your assistance. He needs you to back a program that's not just going to say, okay, I'll house you when you're released from prison.
He's going to treat the problem.
He's going to the problem starts as a child. The adults made the mistake, but the child didn't. So if we can't teach the adults how to understand society, how to understand the social barriers that are set within this country, and how to overcome the economic diversity that we're going through in this country, how are they ever going to succeed? The majority of them had to drop out of school, a lot of them because they had families before, and their family turned their back on them because of it. Yes, when this happens, all of our hearts hurt. All of our feelings get hurt when a child does this. But we're their parents for the rest of our life. Whenever they do wrong, we want to hear about it so we can help them. This is how I look at my family. No matter what's going on with my family, I want to do the best for them. I want to help them to succeed. And every family I see out here in this nation is part of my family. White, black, blue, purple. It doesn't really matter what nationality you are. You're in the United States of America.
You're an American.
And you're an American. We're taught to hate each other. Watch the news. Watch TV. Listen to the radio. Black on black crime. White on black crime. Mexican doing this. Orientals doing this. Why don't we just say Americans doing this? And understand that we need to unite. United we stand, divided we fall. The only organization in the United States that's standing is the government, because they're the only ones that stand united. Now, why don't we stand together and take our vote back to a populist vote so we can actually have the laws we want passed and not the laws our government wants passed? A mandatory law in my behalf that I think you have all these nationalities which are supposed to be the minorities, when in reality prisoners are minorities in this country. The prisoners are the ones that are having problems these days. I would love to see a law passed. I would love to see a law lobbied in the behalf of minorities where every company, like they did back in the 80s and 70s, has to hire so many of them to give them a chance, even if it means putting them through training. But by backing my organization and by financially helping us and physically helping what our cause is, we could take a lot of that burden from the government and actually train these people and build companies around the training that we're doing to actually have viable companies, to research different manufacturing ideas and manufacturing techniques that we've given to all these other countries for all these years, and finally implement them here in our country, since we definitely need them now. We are not just a leader of